We are coming to you from Takoradi, in the very house where Sam Udotech was actually staying. This is the main house that he was staying in, but this very room is where he was occupying. And as you can see, we have the police crime tape actually barricading the police from any interference. And just behind this very wall of the house is where we have the uncompleted building where he was rearrested after his escape. And behind this uncompleted building is where we have the septic tank from which the police uncovered the human remains that they are subjecting it to forensic test. So that is a connection between his room and the uncompleted house, and then the septic tank behind which they had the human part. Since the operation by the police right here in the uncompleted building behind me, where the parts of human remains were actually uncovered, residents here have been in shock.
Stay close to where they came and caught him. I stay close to where they came and caught him. We are neighbors. So on the day they came and caught him, I was around.
But before his arrest, what kind of person was he?
Oh, he was a cool and nice gentleman.
Police operation happened right here in this septic tank inside this very short wall. And since the revelation, and should I say the discovery of the human remains.
So government has ordered the closure of the Ghana Manganese Company Limited.
The directive follows an audit report that indicted the company of causing financial loss to the state due to non-payment of taxes and price manipulation between 2010 and 2017.
Now, this was made known earlier today at a press conference by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources.
In 2018, the then Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Amewu is reported to have threatened not to renew the mining license of the company as its operations were capable of causing financial loss to the state. He is reported to have raised concerns about the company's style of pricing, which was done without government involvement. Following that threat, the company was subsequently instructed to submit its documents to the ministry for perusal. Even though management of the company at the time is reported to have assured the minister of efforts to comply with laws, the government was not convinced, as the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, under the leadership of Kweku Asomachreme, launched an audit into the affairs of the company. This was after the company's operations were temporarily halted in January this year and later lifted. Months after the audit, the ministry says Ghana has made significant losses due to breach in payment of taxes and price manipulation by the company. Mr. Asomachreme says the company has been instructed by government to shut down immediately to enable outstanding issues to be resolved.
These and several other infractions leave me no option as the sector minister than to close down the operations of GMCL until further notice. The company is therefore instructed to stop all mining, exploration, and export of minerals effective 6 August 2019.
Meanwhile, the company is also reported to have caused deficiencies on road and rail infrastructure.
So, operators of eatery joints, popularly known as chop bars, have expressed mixed reaction to the ban on hunting announced by the Forestry Commission. Now, the government last week announced a ban on hunting and capturing of wild animals from August 1, 2019 to December 1. Now, the 5-month ban is in line with the Wildlife Convention Regulations Legislative Instrument LI 685 of 1971. Now, any person who contravenes the regulation will be guilty of an offence and liable on summary conviction to a fine. Now, per the ban, during the period, only grass cutters can be hunted, but with a valid license from the Wildlife Division. So how are operators of eatery joints going to cope following the ban on hunting of wildlife animals? There is more in the following report filed by City News' Hawa Idrisu and Farida Yusuf.
The grass cutter, also known as cane rat and referred to as akranteɛ by many in Ghana, is a wild rodent hunted for its meat. It is usually harmless unless it feels threatened. It is said to be a skilled swimmer and feeds mainly on grass. Grass cutter meat is abhorred in cultures in some parts of Africa and other parts of the world, but in Ghana, it is a delicacy for many. In chop bars or eateries all over Ghana, the grass cutter is highly patronized. According to some chop bar operators along the Accra and Sawom Road, where the delicacy is normally found, the ban will negatively affect their business as patrons of the meat are more likely to dish them for other alternatives. However, the CEO of a popular eatery joint at Amasaman, Kitriki Chop Bar, Nana Nchibuesiakon, says the ban will not have any effect on his business as he has enough bush meat in stock to last him for over 6 months. How bena e de bebe mo 5 months na say o customer bana wenya akante nkwan a how bena e de bebe mo amoye choban
ni nyina ne say ye ton wade a ye ntwen say da bia na ye kofa bi ba me na nantwi a me no ka say minim say sabre ne ba beso nti must ton minam.
Some of the patrons of Akranteɛ we met at chop bars along the highway believe the ban will help increase the animal population for them to continue enjoying their favorite meat.
You're welcome back to the City Newsroom. Now, President Akufo-Addo has defended the celebration of August 4th as Founders' Day, describing it as a significant day in the country's history. President Akufo-Addo says 62 years after independence, the history of the events of 4th August continues to be embroiled in needless controversy due to largely the partisan political considerations of the moment. Now, City News' Sami Wiafe has more in this report.
The declaration of 4th August as Founders' Day and its subsequent affirmation as a public holiday were met with stiff opposition from persons who described themselves as Nkrumahist. They accused President Akufo-Addo and the MPP of attempting to change the history of Ghana. In September 2017, a group of NDC supporters staged a demonstration over the naming of August 4th as Founders' Day instead of the September 21st enacted by the Mills Mahama administration. Addressing a gathering of senior citizens at the Accra International Conference Center to mark the day, President Akufo-Addo says due recognition should be given to persons who played significant roles in the struggle for freedom and independence from colonial rule.
We're gathered here to acknowledge the role played by successive generations of Ghanaians towards the liberation of our country from colonialism and imperialism. Government believes that the most appropriate way to honor them is to commemorate the day on which the two most significant events in our colonial political history that led us to freedom and independence occurred, 4th August. It is unfortunate that 62 years after independence, the history of these events continues to be embroiled in needless controversy due largely to partisan political considerations of the moment. It is time we rose above partisan considerations, set the record straight, recognize the collective efforts in gaining our freedom and independence from colonial rule, reject the trivialization of our past, and do right by our history.